Good afternoon, Pastor Terri. I greatly appreciate your time
Of course.
for my project. So I am participating in a UNT Dallas class about business entrepreneurship. And
Okay.
somewhere in the beginning of the class, we have to pick a project or a product or something that we feel this world needs. You know, there's a lot of needs out there. And so I identified a particular service, so to speak, that I feel could be expanded. We do have it offered, and I'm talking about recycling. I mean, most people, some kind of a recycling service, either through the city or whatever complex they live at, they have some service. However, most of those services are very limited. They go and do just the very basic. And so being inspired from what I experienced back home in Switzerland,
right,
used to live there, they have a very sophisticated recycling system, and somewhere along the line, Switzerland is considered the world champion of recycling. So based on that, I started this concept to offer a recycling service for the DFW, the greater DFW area, that would eliminate the need of having a lot of things go into the trash. And several interviews, I have kind of narrowed it down and so on. So now the next assignment is, what's next? What is the next greatest thing that can be added on, or how can it be transformed to be the next greatest thing after it's already a great thing, you know? So I have chosen you for the new market. That's kind of the identifying area, because we have an existing market that's, yes, we need recycling, but what would that new market look like? And that's where I thought you would be perfect. So you're a pastor of a local church, UNC church. And so the new market that I thought of is, right now, the recycling stations that we have are either in not so necessarily desirable areas, and you don't really want to go there, and you have to go way out of your way. And secondly, they're not really clean, and you know, a little bit, what's the word? Not spooky, not really comfortable environment. And so my new market that I was thinking of is a more portable, like, version of a recycling station that could be, i.e., held at a church. That
I love it. Yeah.
Neighborhood. And the thing, so the secondary thing that I said, what my idea was to give an employment option to individuals that live at the margin. A lot of those people here in the DFW area that just barely make it because of several different reasons. They have personal issues and whatnot. So the idea of the concept is to do something for the environment, and at the same time support people with services and the job that they need to get back on their feet.
Right.
So having said that, that would mean that those individuals would maintain that collection station at, let's say, a local church like yours.
Right.
What do you feel about the idea of a new market versus having the traditional recycling station as we know it here in the US? To have something like it's more a hybrid, where people could use it in their local neighborhood. Yes, they still would have to go maybe somewhere, but it would be maybe once a month. It would be at this location, and at the same time, we would go around the neighborhood and collect things right in that neighborhood that are more specific, that need to be, like, one thing that really bothers me is batteries. I have to throw them in the trash because I have literally no clue where I can go and get them recycled, and they're not good for the environment. So what do you feel about that next new thing?
I like the idea. I think it would, another possibility is to do ecumenically, to do Methodist churches and Catholic churches and Baptist churches, any church, because there's so many churches in Dallas.
Yes, and they have, because if you do a recycling regularly, a recycling station has to be need space.
Right.
That's expensive within the city. Obviously, you can't recycle everything, but there's some in the code. If you don't have a permanent location, there's other regulations that you have to follow that make it easier. And then you can have a collection station where you collect everything then from those satellite locations that use different churches and other organizations and businesses, and then bring it inside the city. And then you don't have to worry about the high property prices and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the fact that it's not all the time, it's like, okay, this will just be your church like once a month or something, I think that more churches would be willing to sign on, because you're not asking for a lot from the church, like permanent space or anything like that.
Yeah, and it would be during the week when, that would have to maybe be developed. If people anyway come for a church service, maybe they want to do it like that because they already get there. Or you really don't want to give up the space. We're rather doing it and utilize our space during the week when there's not as much stuff going on. So that would be the thing that we would have to figure out, I think. But because a lot of recycling goes with convenience, at least here in the US. If it's not convenient, it's easier to just throw it in the trash.
But I think that it's a great fit for a church because of a church's theology about creation and God creation, us taking care of the earth and being stewards of the earth. I was thinking of the Potter's House, which is a large African-American church in South Dallas, and they're doing vaccines at the Potter's House because people trust the church. People know where the church is.
I think,
yeah. So like the church can be a community center, and it's got it already has a trust level. So I think it's a great idea.
Cool. So is there any other thing that you, in the instant as I'm putting you on the spot, that you feel with this concept that I could take and maybe I haven't thought of? I shared it to you very briefly and summarized it, but is there something that comes to your mind right now, like off the hook, that you're like, oh, have you thought of this? In this?
I know that for like our elementary schools, they will have recycling, like paper recycling, and they have a truck that comes and you have to pay money for like every box you bring or something. Shredding, they do shredding, and so people will pay like $10 a box to shred, and then it's a fundraiser for the school. And so I wonder if that could be incorporated like as a fundraiser.
It's really interesting you bring that up because I remember so I used in Switzerland, school was on Saturday too for some time when I grew up. It got eliminated later on. And so Saturday morning, every a quarter or whatever it was, months a month, as a school, we would go out in the neighborhood with our carts and pick up the newspaper that people bundled. And the school would get money back from the government. So the government actually wouldn't have to collect it. They didn't have to pay anybody. The only give the school a kickback for some kind of a project or whatnot. So I like that idea a lot.
Would it be like because you said it would be portable, would it be like in a car, like a truck? Like would the driver, the person that is having the employment, would they be driving it?
So we would have to see how we would develop. There's several things that as I have modified this idea, and as I came up with this new market idea, I was thinking either having like a little truck that has integrated things that they can just park, and then there's openings that they can fill in and throw it in, and inside is just the sorting station already integrated in that, let's say a semi, like a smaller semi or whatnot.
Right.
So it's like a collection station that is movable. And it
Right.
would, well, good advertisement to have, like, hey, this is your portable collection station, and wherever it's parked, you can use it.
Right.
Like that, versus some containers that you will have to drop down and then pick back up. So I would feel some container vehicle that has side slits on the outside would probably be a better idea.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But there needs to be more, you know, it's a concept right now. So, but it's
right. Right.
The wheels are starting to move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Develop.
I needed to go buy mulch, you know, that you put in the flower beds.
Yeah.
And I was at the Costco and they had mulch out of tires. So they were saying, you know, that like it'll last forever. It would be so neat if you could be, then the next development could be some product that you're selling to the church or to the church people that is created from what they recycled.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be, it would just have to see what it is. I mean, one thing that I was thinking of was wood stuff, like all furniture pieces that just get thrown on the
right.
And then I don't know where it goes. Pallets
goes to the landfill.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think most of the time, because we're just too fortunate to have a lot of space here in this country, so we can just fill it up.
Right. My
backyard I don't really care about. And a country like Switzerland has not a lot of space. And so they're like, hey, let's see how we can eliminate or make as much use out of it as possible. So
right. Yeah,
so
for sure.
I greatly appreciate all your ideas and your time. So thank you very much. I have a lot to take in and process for this assignment. So thank you very much for your time.
Sure.
Thanks, and we'll see what will come out at the end.
Okay.